To the sports shuffle. I don't know what Joel was about to say, but we got him off so we could do an intro. Anyways, I'm Flying Ryan Gokers along with.
Tampa Motor Mouth overall.
And
I'm just Zach.
Zach, our reigning 16 team champion. We don't know why.
That's right. I was supposed to bring the trophy in.
I mean, you could probably, have someone bring it to you or go get it if you want. Do a quick little intro. But yeah, he has a trophy that I've had a couple times. Joel has yet to own, but it's been close a couple times, and Zach's going to try and do a repeat, which I think has been done once. It's a very, very tough league to win once, let alone back-to-back. And with all of that said, we'll talk a little bit about news before we get going too far. As we briefly mentioned before we started, J.J. McCarthy out for the season. Zach's dynasty quarterback pickup from the draft this year, out for the season with a full tear meniscus surgery.
Yeah, because they were like, okay, does it just need to be repaired a little bit, and then he can come back, or is it,
Yeah, so now it's Sam Darnold or someone else you don't want at quarterback if you have a team that hopes to do anything good this year.
Hey, a team signed Peterman, so.
Colin Kaepernick has a coaching offer from one of the Harbaughs.
Harbaugh,
Yeah, good for him.
So is ESPN going to spend some money and resources, and they will have a streaming robot literally follow Kaepernick around, like 24/7?
No, I would hope not. Just first of all, it's Colin Kaepernick. He's gonna be like, no, I don't want the job, and then be like, I want to be a coach, and then not show up. So I don't trust him for any of that. Anyways, but yeah, it's a fun time. We're getting to the injuries. We're getting to the preseason. Week 1 is in the books. Zach is distracted, and we love it. Anyways, hello, Jen.
The wife's here.
Hi, Ryan.
I officiated their wedding. Anyways, we're gonna do our first mock draft as a group for the season. We're not going to do a mayhem one today because one of us had a day full of dum-dums and idiots. And if I had my way to do mayhem, I would just call it pure torture and carnage. So
if you were like the king or the duke or the duchess, you would send a whole bunch of people to the dungeon.
Yeah, round 1, Joel, you're going to take Anthony Richardson. Zach, you're going to take Cole Kmet. Screw you. I hope you're drafted now.
Who the fuck?
Yeah, that wouldn't be the best idea.
What the?
Yeah, that wouldn't be the best idea to give me the power today. So we're going to do a 12-team PPR mock draft. Again, first one. I think this is the first one that's actually done it all. I've done a handful, but not so many in the 12-team full PPR space. I'm going to be drafting from spot number 2. Joel is going to be from spot number 7. Zach from spot 10. We tried to get it where it was a little more balanced and fun and even, but they kept wanting to put us at the front and the back. So this is the best we can come up with, and we are going to get going. Remember, talk through your thoughts as you go because we're trying to I don't know what I'm trying to share a screen. But we're going to try and talk through what we're thinking here. So starting the draft, here we go. Pick number 1, CD Lamb. Full PPR. I guess that's the way to go. Of course, Christian McCaffrey dealing with the calf injury, but good to pass up. Him number 2.
Yeah, both Browns go back to back.
Yeah, Bijan at 3, Brown and St. Brown 5 and 4 in that order, and Tyreek Hill falling to 6 just seems wrong.
Yeah,
Tyreek was the other one I was thinking about at 2 when he goes at 6. While you were thinking about it, and you take Jamar Chase, what do you think Justin Jefferson's ceiling has become now with Darnold at best? Because McCarthy looked pretty good.
I would think there's a lot of question all of a sudden when you go from you don't know who's going to be behind center quite as much.
Yeah. Breece Hall to Zach, a little bit of a running back run to end the first round. 5 and 5 or 5 and 7, sorry. A little more running back heavy than we've been seeing in a lot of these mock drafts. Mostly running back, Light and Zach goes running back with
Double
Brees
running back.
and Taylor. I know I think Joel's asked me, like, is this a good year to do 0 RB? And it really isn't, because you'll see as this goes along, there's going to be a lot of teams that go wide receiver to start. And then all of those teams are going to be battling for the same set of resources at running back. So it's going to be a tough one. Brees and Taylor. Joel going Jamar Chase and Travis Etienne. I'm back on the clock. Ooh, I have to do it. McCaffrey and Achane, I feel like that is just absolutely absurd. And then I have the opportunity to do something I really enjoy doing, is going the highest of T.
All the T.
That is following up with Derrick Henry. McCaffrey, Achane, and Henry. I have the best running back set in the league if everybody can stay remotely healthy. But wide receiver might be a little bit of a headache. But damn it, I know my running backs are going to be good. Joel, 1-1 so far, goes with Rachaad White from the Bucks. And does Zach join me in super high T? According to ADP, he shouldn't be.
No, I was honestly hoping that Debo would slide back here, and Team 9 sniped me. Bastards.
I love the first snipe of the year.
So I won't go as high T, but I'll get another player that has high upside for rushing touchdowns. Might as well call him a running back.
All right, my screen is frozen, so I'm going to refresh. I'm guessing you either went Hurts or Lamar Jackson with your
Hurts. Yeah.
Yeah, you had Samuel, Hurts, and then Jackson after.
There we go. Yeah, for some reason mine decided to free. So Hurts goes with Brees and Taylor, Jackson, Pittman, then more Waddle to come back to Zach, who, like me, is still needing a wide receiver 1. He goes Cooper Kupp. I think that's going to be a pretty good wide receiver 1 this year. All the hype around Puka. Yep. And I just don't know. Damn it. I'm wearing the jersey of the guy I was hoping would follow me, and he doesn't know. He doesn't quite get all the way back. But there are 3 guys in this range I really do like. DK, and then Tank Dell's my next highest off the board. So I will take Tank Dell, and then Pickens was the next one. So right back to back to back. This league, we do have a tight end. It's a wide receiver, or 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, single flex. I think I'm going to go down here to Amari Cooper, who was a league winner last season. Wasn't terrible with the Predator Deshaun Watson. So hopefully he can be good, as Joel already on the board with CJ Stroud as a quarterback, and then follows up with T. Higgins to pair with Jamar Chase. So the Cincinnati wide receiver super stack is on there. What are your thoughts around the Bengals offense this year, Joel?
Well, just sort of a kind of a renaissance. You have a feeling that they're on a mission, that if everyone can just stay healthy, we've seen how dangerous Jamar Chase can be. And even T. Higgins has had a couple of decent catches already. I've seen some highlights in preseason that definitely has his stock going up.
We'll see. And he's still on the block to get traded, which is still a possibility, because if they don't think they're going to sign him at the end of the season, they might try and move him for scraps or for whatever they can. T. Higgins, if he does hang around, could be a good asset. Old man wide receiver core starting for Zach with Kupp and Keenan Allen. Allen, of course, now with the Chicago Bears, and we'll see what happens with Caleb Williams. Anybody with strong thoughts on Caleb Williams so far? Because I kind of think he's going to be a all-time level bust.
Too much.
I mean, he can still be one of the best quarterbacks in Bears history and be an all-time bust.
Yeah, that bar is set extremely low.
Too much.
I don't see him being a bust. I definitely don't see him living up to the expectations that are being placed on him. But as far as being a bust as a starting quarterback, he's shown he has the skills. It's just whether it's going to translate from college to the NFL.
Yeah. I don't know. I still can't get the image of him crying after losing the game in his mommy's arms in the stands out of my mind. And then all the oddities and the weird distractions that he kind of brings to the table. Just,
Right.
it's hard for me to be like, yeah, that's a guy who I can see going into a locker room and leading men into battle and not kind of being a little off. So we'll see. He was good in college. You never know how they translate to the pros. I mean, Ryan Leaf went ahead of Peyton Manning. Things happen. Bryce Young went ahead of CJ Stroud. Anywho, back to me. I've got two wide receiver, 3 running backs so far. So probably want to balance this out. Now it's, do I want someone like a McLaurin who is a little more well known, or do I want to go with the higher upside? Both would have a bye week that matches. Let's go with Jaden Reed. He's the hot name out of Green Bay. We'll see if he pans out. And now we're getting into the part of the draft where there's just not a lot of options I really like. So it's basically take the best player available or the guy you really, really want. And I'm going to reach and take Jordan Love, pair him with Jaden Reed. Just make sure I do get the quarterback I want at this point.
You stack.
Yeah, I mean, you get the stack, and the other option would have been Kyler Murray, but I'd rather have the stack and just reach a little bit. Joel, 2 receivers, 3 running backs, 1 quarterback, still no tight end on the board. Up on the clock with his next pick. I am now final balance 3-1. He goes David Njoku. Also was a pretty good league-winning type of player at the end of last season.
Oh,
Zach now on the clock, 2-2, 1-1, so really has anywhere to go between wide receiver, running back. If he wants to double up on one of the ones he positions, he can. But old man receiving core, young man running back field, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what his team is right now. A bunch of young guys, and a bunch of old guys, with Ingram on the receiving end of things as well. He takes Godwin back on the clock.
He did not make it back. All right.
And I'm guessing you were thinking of Purdy or no, Addison?
I was gonna play the game of if Addison made it back to me this round, it would have been worth the pick.
Addison with a minor ankle injury in practice today, but shouldn't be any kind of issue. More the injury to his quarterback could be a bigger concern, but in the 8th round, you take your shots on the high potential players.
That's right.
And then Mostert, RB2 last season, so well worth the risk in the 8th round.
In the 8th round, I get your insurance back. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if one of these guys get injured, I think it's going to be Jalen Wright, who is the insurance back for both of them. But I do think if one of these guys get hurt, Achane or Mostert, the other guy goes up a little bit.
Oh, shoots up for sure.
Joel back on the clock, and round number 8 goes with the DeAndre Hopkins. Speaking of old man receiver core, and then it comes back to me. Deontay Johnson with a little bit of an injury. I'm 3-1. Still don't have a tight end, so I want to look over there. Nothing super exciting here. So I think we're going to stick with the running back receiver type of move here. I think of the guys left, the one I believe in most. You know what? I'm going to hold off on the running backs. There's 3 guys that are in range. I like 2 of them. It's only one team. If they go back to back, oh well. I want one of the rookie wide receivers, and I'm going to do something I don't really love because I'm a Dolphins fan, and I'm going to take Keon Coleman. I think he has a chance to be number 1, and they took both of the running backs I had my eye on. So that's fantastic as Team 1 just super sniping the running backs on their turn. The other option here would be Devin Singletary, who's going to be the starter for the Giants, and the backup just had a little bit of an ankle injury. I don't trust Austin Eckler this year. I think his career is basically over. Brian Robinson, who's going to be down the line, probably a more safe pick. And I think I'm frozen up again. Why is that? Yep. I will make the selection on my phone if I can. Gotta love when technology is a pile of crap. Oh, there it goes. All right, so I'm at 4-4 and a quarterback. Joel is at 3-4, a running back. Nope, sorry, looking at the wrong roster. 3-3, a quarterback and a tight end. And Zach is also 3-3, a quarterback and a tight end. As we go into round number 8 or 9, we go to round 13. We're not drafting kickers and defenses because, well, you can spin a wheel and put one on your roster at the end of the draft, and it really doesn't affect you too much. Tajay Spears going to be in a bit of a timeshare with Tony Pollard, but middle of the 9th round, they have massive upside if one of the others gets injured. Not a bad pick there, but now another stack with Hopkins on the same roster. As we get to the end of round 9 with Zach back on the clock. And I like that pick.
That late, I can do that.
It's such a low risk thing.
With the talk that they're having, it's worth the pick there.
If he ends up being remotely what they were hoping when they drafted him 2 years ago, remember he was injured his first year, had the suspension in year number 2, missed a lot of training camp in both seasons. First training camp, and he is impressing so far. He's going to be the clear number 2 on that offense in the receiving game. He could be a very good steal and a very good league winner if he does pan out. Romeo Doubs as well, getting a lot of buzz in camp. So a couple good picks for Zach at the wide receiver position as Joel back on the clock. And he goes Brian Robinson. Again, that would have been tempting if he got back to me. I am officially out of the tight ends I care about, so that's going to be a full punt at the position, I believe. Just to look, yeah, there's nothing really exciting there. Komet, Freiermuth, Musgrave. I could take the chance on Sennett, Cade Otton, but at this point, I would rather just take the best available outside of that position. Who do I? Okay. Well, there's 2 guys I like again. One of which is a little higher rated. So I'm going to take Tyler Lockett at the wide receiver. And I'm going to hope. I don't like Team 1. I was going to take Chase Brown. But Chase Brown, Zach Moss, I guess that makes sense to kind of handcuff that one. For me, from here, I do want to get at least one more running back. I don't think it's too – I got to go with Jerome Ford. I mean, he's going to be the starter for at least an extended period of time this season. We'll see how Nick Chubb looks when he comes back. Nick Chubb has already been drafted in the 8th round by Team 5, so you're going to get a starter for at least a few weeks of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Chubb starts on the PUP list. Khalil Shakur would have been an option there had I not already taken Keon Coleman, so a good pick there from Joel in the 11th round as we go back to Zach, who only has 3 running backs on the roster, so definitely some depth issues at the running back position for Zach. But there's still a couple guys that you might get lucky. You might have some potential at the running back position. Hubbard's at least going to get a few weeks of starting. We mentioned Jalen Wright being a good handcuff for Mostert or Achane if you want to go that route. Dobbins could be a starter. Rico Dowdle looks like he's going to be at least in a timeshare. Ty Chandler right behind Aaron Jones. So a lot of good options at that point as we await the pick to come through. And it's going to be Xavier Legette, running back. Be damned. Zach back on the clock. Legette going just before Jerry Jeudy. Oh, how Jerry Jeudy has fallen. And there goes J.K. Dobbins to Zach. So 4 running backs, 1 pick left to go. Zach, how you feeling about specifically your running back talent and depth, but overall team so far?
So overall, I'm pretty content. There is definitely a concern with running back in a 12-man PPR league. The concern was going to be it's more on the receptions than it is on running backs. Well, you obviously don't want to be a loser in any position. If there is a position outside of the onesies that I'm going to I'm going to suffer at. I would rather it be running back than receivers. So, getting two powerhouse running backs out the gate, it was very easy to just grab at every wide receiver that I thought had a chance of going big. As long as there was a path, it was a worthy shot over the running backs in that area.
Yeah, it makes sense there. I've always been a little bit more running back focused. I don't want to be hurting at the end of the year. Oh God, the tight ends are just so freaking bad.
How bad are they?
I'm really considering Taysom Hill here, and I don't like it. You know what? I'm picking off the back end of the draft. So whoever I pick here is going to be dropped for the waiver wire fire. And you got to remember, in leagues when you're auto drafting with 9 others, Kittle and Hawkinson to the same roster, that could happen because of the injury. Pitts, Goddard, Kincaid, Musgrave on the same roster, Bowers and Freiermuth, Andrews, Kmet. Most teams don't take 2, so it's a little thinner than it should be right now.
That's what I found interesting. A lot of these bots went 2 tight ends, if not 2 quarterbacks as well, and it really thinned. It gave us more options, but it also thinned the options at the onesies.
Yeah, so I'll take Cade Otton, understanding that if Senate pops off or Hunter Henry, or there's talk that Isaiah likely could be used more this year in conjunction with Mark Andrews as more of a wide receiver type. Someone like that pops off week 1, you drop Otton, you go get the new guy and hope they're a little bit better. Joel, as you pick likely to double up on the tight end, how are you feeling about your draft? You're a little more balanced than Zach is, but definitely interesting decisions with a couple double stacks.
Yeah, because if the whole Bengals stack tends not to go too well, that definitely is a major problem for the whole stratagem there. But yeah, also I'm concerned with D-Hop, and I think I'm a little bit stronger with wide receiver than maybe running back, but then again, it all depends upon that Jacksonville offense, and if the Bucks' Rashid White can somehow capture some of that lightning in a bottle he just had the second half, which really just absolutely vaulted him up there from all of a sudden the first half that just everyone was going, what's going on? The second half meaning they may be a league winner.
Yeah, he was really good last year. Not very efficient, but tons of work, and that's sometimes all you need. I definitely like my running backs. I can't really complain about that with McCaffrey, Achane, and Henry. If those 3 stay healthy, all I need is one that's decent enough during bye weeks, and Singletary and Jerome Ford should be able to do that. But with that said, I don't hate the Tank Dell, Amari Cooper core at the wide receiver, but then you have shots on Jalen Reed, Keon Coleman, Tyler Lockett, a little bit of an older guy, but a little more consistent. And then Troy Franklin late. Bo Nix was impressive week 1 of the preseason. So Troy Franklin was his college wide receiver. He's on the same team now. Maybe that connection rolls over. So not too unhappy with that one.
Team 3, I know bot-wise, but it's interesting, Bijan. Then you have Ayuk, and then Josh Jacobs, as you definitely have to wonder how he's going to perform this year.
I think Josh Jacobs in the early 3rd is about the going rate. He is going somewhere around running back 10, which is exactly what he did here. I personally think I like Pacheco a little bit more, but outside of that, I don't see anybody after him. I'm like, I would definitely take him over Josh Jacobs. Even Pacheco's like a kind of a feeling Pacheco's going to pop off. Obviously, when I took Henry, I had the option of Jacobs, and I would rather have the guy on the better team, which, no offense to the Packers. The Packers are going to be a good team this year, but Baltimore was the 1 seed in the AFC. They already have one of the best running games in history, really, since Lamar Jackson's been there. They've been one of the best ever. And then you get Derrick Henry, who is just an absolute monster. So, Josh Jacobs, that Packers offense is going to be good. And the thing is, if I say right now, not including Jordan Love, because if you stop the quarterback for any team, you're going to stop the team. Who do you have to stop for the Packers to really shut down that offense? Obviously, you go to Minnesota, it's like shut down Justin Jefferson. You go to Miami, it's like if you can shut down Tyreek, you can really shut down the rest of it. The Bucks, you've got Evans and White, but if you knock one of them off their game, you're probably shutting that offense down a little bit. With the Packers, Jacobs is probably the best candidate for that, but they've got 4 really good wide receivers that were drafted in this draft, which I think Dobbs was the latest of the 4. Between Christian Watson, Reed, Dobbs, and I'm playing on the last one. I'll find them. But yeah, 4 wide receivers. I'll find the last name. It's going to bother me now. But who do you stop to stop the Packers? I think that's going to be one of the bigger problems. We're only 3 go in this draft. I only meant 3 of them in this draft.
And the team after me, speaking of Justin Jefferson, you've got team 8, bot, but you got JJ, then Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs on the new gig. You got Cook, Walker, Burrow, of course, and then JSN, Chuba Hubbard.
I don't like that team. I don't like that team because Adams, while a very good player, he's going to be attached to Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell on what should be an offense that's not fantastic. Justin Jefferson, at best, has Sam Darnold this year. Yes, he is Justin Jefferson, can excel with anybody. And then Stephon Diggs, just coming off that trade, he's going into an offense with Nico Collins, who went just ahead of him, and Tank Dell, who went about a round and a half after him. I think Stephon Diggs will be the number 3 receiver in that offense. And at that point, a 3rd-round pick is just scary. The Bills' running game has always been weird. Cook did have a good year. Walker, I don't have a problem with. Burrow, I don't have a problem with. But then Odunze, and one of those other ones, you have 3 mouths to feed. How's that going to work out? JSN, 3 mouths to feed. How is that going to work out? Interesting draft there. Zach, any team that we haven't talked about standing out to you, good or bad? I do want to talk about Team 6, but I don't know if you've got one in mind as well.
Other than the run of running backs for Team 1 in the mid to late, interesting time to pull the trigger. Looking at Pollard in Tennessee. We know the history of Harris and how he's split in the backfield with who is it in
Jalen Warren, who we took 2 rounds later. He did that twice.
Exactly.
Harris and Warren, and then Moss and Brown, both timeshares in the same backfield.
So I mean, he's there might be a strategy to locking down particular backfields if they have a good run history. Neither of those teams are really known for running it right now, at least not efficiently. So, yeah, I don't see anyone doing anything close to that in real life, but interesting strategy all around.
I think I would like that draft better if he went Singletary and Jerome Ford, where he went Warren and then Brown, just because then you might have 5 starters, whereas this you have 2 timeshares on the same roster. So I don't mind, because that's what zero RB is going to look like this year. Is just, okay, we're throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall, but when you double up on the same backfield, you're really limiting your options there. For me, I want to talk Team 6 because their number 1 running back is Ramondre Stevenson. The Patriots modeled to be one of the worst offenses in football. Just mentioned some of the concerns with the Raiders offense with Devontae Adams. They have Zamir White. Zeke Elliott is about 104 years old. I think his knees are older than that even. And I just don't know how he's going to be. Zach Charbonnet as a backup and Kendre Miller. So the running backs can be real bad there. I don't hate the Hill, Laporta, Evans, Neighbors, Anthony Richardson start with McConkey. Very young receiving core at the same time as a very experienced one with Hill and Evans. But if one of those rookies doesn't pan out and those running backs that you drafted to be your starters are a little off, that could be one of those teams where it's like, yeah, I kind of wish I could trade for Hill or Laporta because they're on dead rosters essentially after that. Evans even might be a good one to try and pick up from them.
Right.
But yeah, mock draft number 1 in the books for this offseason. And I think it went fairly well. Zach, first impressions, ADPs, anything really standing out to you? Anything that looks like it's supposed to go earlier and later? Anybody in particular standing out?
Like you said, it's the first one. This is a fresh look for me. I've obviously been paying attention to, loosely paying attention to ADP but I'm looking across multiple, Yahoo, ESPN, Sleeper. So as you know, it's all skewed. There's no one solid ADP. Sleeper, the believed to be a little bit smarter of a clientele. So other than ones that you called out where Tyreek slipped all the way to 6, McCaffrey and Robinson going back to back, there's an argument to be said for anyone going that early in the draft that they could be the number one for their position. I get it. There are just a few that I couldn't imagine another wide receiver other than maybe CeeDee Lamb going before Hill. And
that's the top tiers, those two for sure.
Right. And then just again, because it's PPR, unless it's Christian McCaffrey, it's got to be if you're going running back that hard that early, they got to be getting a lot of work. They got to be getting a lot of touches.
Yeah. A lot of hype around Atlanta this year. I mean, Bijan was great last year, but you didn't get the return on the draft pick you had last year. I think it was number 8 overall. So he was like RB3 or 4 off the board. And he wasn't that good last year. He was still fine. But in 2023, he was the RB12. So you didn't get your return last year. A lot of hype with Kirk Cousins coming back off the Achilles. Only time will tell if that pans out. We're seeing that Patriots are close to finalizing a trade that will send Matthew Judon to the Falcons. Could be an interesting trade to help the Falcons on the defensive side of the ball. But if Kirk Cousins ends up being healthy, that defense needed a pass rusher very, very badly. And if they'd had a pick like, I don't know, number 8 overall, they could have went after a pass rusher, but I don't know why they just didn't have a pick, it seemed like, in the first round this year.
Mm-hmm.
Their number 8 pick was Michael Penix, whoever forgets. Backup quarterback. But yeah, I think Bijan has the potential. I'm surprised Brees went at 10. That I think is – those 3 running backs I think need to be top 10, but right now I would take all 3 of those above Justin Jefferson. I would take him above Puka Nacua. And A.J. Brown going at 5 is high. I would consider all 3 of those possibly before A.J. Brown as well. That one in a PPR is a little bit more of a tough call, but
it's a game.
And the Marvin Harrison Jr. hype.
I want to do a 16-team mock, even if it is like not broadcast, like just to do it, because I keep getting in this situation where it's like Marvin Harrison is the best available at my pick at 14, and I don't know what to do. I really don't. So with that, let's end this podcast 1, and if we feel like doing a 16-team real quick, we'll do that. So Zach, Joel, thank you for taking the time to record this with me. We are 9 days or so from the 16-team draft. 9 days, an hour, 17 minutes, and we will be live streaming that one. We have another one the day before on Yahoo. It's coming fast and furious. We started a little bit later this year, but anyways, I am Flying Ryan along with
Captain Motormouth, Joel Verlin.
Ian.
And just Zach.
The champ. And with that, we go.